Just remember, folks, the infant still has not been found. The thought of this case and what we're really talking about here really gets just, it unnerves me. It gets to a piece of me that makes me angry. I will be honest with you. I'm angry when I'm covering this case because it's disgusting. It's deplorable. And I don't understand humanity sometimes. I just don't understand. We have egg donor and we have real mom, okay? Egg donor is the one that took out her child and her grandchild. The most shocking situation in this entire story, and we're going to go back through and I'm going to give you guys a little update into this case, but the most shocking right now is everything that we've learned about this case, and then to find out that the sister Kimberly and her fiance are now out of jail. And so what does that mean? This child was either succumbed to his injuries, or what was the real reason for taking this child? And I'm sorry. I mean, Justin For All is in the chat, right? And we both covered Michael Monkey Vaughn, and we're now learning some of the details of Michael Monkey Vaughn. And there was a Adrian Lewson that, you know, was talking about $10,000 a head, you know, blonde hair, blue eye. What's going for, you know, got to be careful here, but, you know, what's kind of going for infants? So good morning, everyone. Today's show is one of the most disturbing and emotionally heavy cases we've covered in a very, very long time. This is the case of a 22-year-old pregnant mother, Rebecca Parks, whose body was found deep in the Manistee National Forest with her abdomen mutilated, and her baby was missing. New developments broke yesterday that two people charged in connection with this case, one directly connected and one that was unconnected to this case, they were released, which include her sister and her fiance, are now out of jail after their bonds were dramatically and drastically lowered. We don't know why they were reduced. We're trying to locate that information right now. It is my assumption that one of two things happened. If there was no bond reduction hearing before a judge, the only other way I can assume that their bond was lowered is what somebody had said in our chat earlier, and that means somebody got a plea deal. Somebody was singing like a canary. But if that's not the case, then because their charges have not been changed, okay? Their charges are still the same. Both of their charges are still the same. Richard still has the substance charges, and Kim still has the lying to law enforcement and tampering with evidence charge. Those charges never went away. Those charges never were lowered. The only thing that was lowered for both of these people allegedly were the bonds. So I want to just clarify that because I know people are going to ask. Authorities immediately determined this was not natural, not an accident, and not wildlife. Wildlife doing that to her. They did find out and thought it was Rebecca pretty soon, but they couldn't confirm it without the medical examiner confirming it, because that's the proper chain of command and protocol with any law enforcement body in a case like this. So this escalated into a homicide investigation. I was kind of hopeful with all these people appearing to have substance abuse problems. It seemed to me, I was hopeful, you know, that maybe these folks were trying to save the baby versus trying to harm the baby or harm the mother. Because of the substances and, you know, the charges of the fiance, it was hard for me not to consider that she could have, you know, succumbed to maybe substance abuse or a specific use at that time, and then she just succumbed, being pregnant and all. You know, your body has some changes going on. Maybe something you were able to do before you were pregnant, you're not able to do while you're pregnant, or not allowed to, can't have the same amount that you once did, or whatever the case may be. But I was hopeful that, you know, this person was trying to be helpful. And this is the Rebecca Park case. Substances is what brings us here. I truly believe substances is the reason why Cortney lost all of her children. Mental issues, drugs, that's a possibility. We did read and learn from Stephanie Park. Stephanie Park is who everybody wants to know as Rebecca's real mom. She has raised this child since she was an infant. She's raised all of Cortney's children. She's real mom. The real mom is grieving the loss of her daughter and her grandchild. In all fairness, what it means to me is that maybe law enforcement jumped the gun in charging them, or just swept everybody. Like, we have a dead, a deceased woman here. There's an infant missing. You know what? You guys were all around her. You were we got you for dealing drugs. We got you for lying under oath, and we got you two for just being terrible monsters, right? And so I think that kind of is what happened, because these were drastic bond changes. We were trying to figure out what happened yesterday. And about 25 minutes into my show, I guess we started learning that Richard as well as Kimberly were being released from jail. They were being released, and we were confused. They had $1 million bond and a $750,000 bond. We couldn't figure out how in the world these two knuckleheads came up with $175,000. It doesn't seem like this entire family, or the generational part of the family, even has $175,000 to rub together. So we're questioning this, and people are saying the bonds were reduced, and we're like, wait a minute, how were the bonds reduced? We don't see any hearing on the books for them. We don't see anything docketed for a reduction in bond or anything like that. So it was a situation that I think that there must have been an emergency hearing. Now, that is an assumption, okay? There's no factual standing or basis for me to make that assumption that they were, potentially, had a hearing. But I don't understand, because we're going to learn, and I've got it here, I'm going to be reading this to you, that their bonds were reduced significantly. This guy here had $1 million bond. 10% of $1 million, folks, is $100,000. Okay. And we're hearing he is being bonded. And I'm like, there ain't no way. And if he does have $100,000, well, he's higher up on the D-man food chain than I thought he was. He doesn't look like he's going to be that high up there. He looks like a knucklehead. Okay. I'm not going to lie. He looks like a knucklehead. Prove me wrong. I don't know what you guys think a knucklehead looks like, but this is what I think a knucklehead looks like. So this guy looks to me to be a knucklehead. He's being charged with knucklehead charges, right? He's being charged with knucklehead charges. So not only do I think he's a knucklehead, I have some type of receipts to help prove that he's a knucklehead. Okay, so he's out. And that's the first one we're hearing out. And then they're saying Kimberly's out. And I'm like, okay, something ain't right here.